relax is not a sin. Original from in the beginning. Glory to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow relax is not a sin. Original from in the beginning. Don't be ashamed of your culture. And we don't fear your copper nor your sulfur. Never give up, matter what the fight is. Every day we chant ceaseless ISIS. See them a try hard, we control him. But coronavirus cannot hold him. Rasta man natural from iration. Burn out COVID vaccination, hey. Praises to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow relax is not a sin. Original from in the beginning. Glory to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow relax is not a sin. Corruption just can't win. By the powers of the Most High, we shall overcome all evil. They're telling you a lot of lies, trying to deceive the people. But we shall fight, and we'll be victorious. We shall fight, and we'll be so glorious. She said them a war, me she said them a hate. She said them a go, see them a discriminate. I fight for the land what Almighty create. Them alone want all of decay. Praises to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow relax is not a sin. Original from in the beginning. Glory to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow relax is not a sin. Corruption just can't win. Rastafari, get yourself together. You've already seen what's happening in the world. They're trying to eliminate you all. Okay? Be awake. Stay awake. We're the enlightened ones. Eh? Rastafari. Naya Bingi. For them a chat, but them no. Congo grow relax is not a sin. Original.
Greetings in the name of the Most High. Hailing up the Emperor, is Imperial Majesty, Selassie. Today is his birthday, and the world over is celebrating this man's birthday, this king's birthday, this extraordinary human being's birthday. There's so much debate around Selassie. Who was he? What was he? Who did he represent? The beginning of the Rastafari movement. His name was Rastafari. There's so much to understand about his Imperial Majesty. You just don't know where to start. And to be honest, in all of my trods and esoteric studies, Selassie and the whole philosophy has fascinated me more than I would dare to mention. And it's been my studious mindset that's gone deep to understand what he was about, much less just being praised as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. What was he really about? What is the Rastafari movement all about? So today we're going to take a deep dive, and it's going to be a real deep dive. I've done a cover on the Rastafari movement already, but I'm thinking, do it again with a new, fresh perspective and dig even deeper. What you say about that? What you say about that one there? What you say? You like that one there? So, give me a second to dive into this momentous moment, this moment of deep insight into the life, meaning, history of not just Selassie, but the movement, the Rastafari movement, the origins. And this is going to take a good few episodes, dare I say. So let me dive straight in. And first of all, I want to start with a video just to give a little impression, to fast track the insight of who Selassie was on record. So let me see if I can dial up that video. Bear with me, it'll come up. All right, hold on there. I could do this. I want a button for press and them thing there. Hold on, it'll come. You see what when you do things live now? Alright, here we are do now. This I'm gonna take a quick second. Now we're gonna set up our next window capture. But it's alright. We can do that on the fly. We can overcome all kind of things. You just will have cool vibes. Alright, see channel. Straight in. Let's have a look at the beginning of this quick video just to give us a quick insight as to who Selassie was on record. Okay, here we go.
Now let us start from the beginning. King of kings, Lord of lords, conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God, His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I. These were the titles bestowed upon Rastafari Makanan upon his coronation on November 2nd, 1930, as the last reigning monarch of the Solomonic dynasty, which claimed lineage to Menelik I, believed to be the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. After the death of his father's cousin, Emperor Menelik II, who had no sons of his own, took the young Tafari to the imperial court in Addis Ababa to raise him. Educated at home by French missionaries, Tafari at an early age favorably impressed the emperor with his intellectual abilities and was promoted accordingly. As governor of Sidamo and then of Hara province, he followed progressive policies, seeking to break the feudal power of the local nobility by increasing the authority of the central government, for example, by developing a salaried civil service. He thereby came to represent politically progressive elements of the population. When Menelik II died in 1913, his grandson Lineage succeeded to the throne, but the latter's unreliability and his close association with Islam made him unpopular since the majority of the Ethiopian population were Christians. Tafari became the rallying point of the Christian resistance, and he deposed Lineage in 1916. Zauditu, Menelik II's daughter, thereupon became empress in 1917, and Rastafari was bestowed with the power of the regent plenipotentiary of Ethiopia, Enderasi. During her administration, Zauditu was conservative in outlook, while Rastafari was progressive and more concerned with the focus of the aspirations of the modernist younger generation. In 1923, he had a conspicuous success in the admission of Ethiopia to the League of Nations. In the following year, he visited Jerusalem, Rome, Paris, and London, becoming the first Ethiopian ruler ever to go abroad. After countless bloody power struggles, the ambitious and astute string puller Tafari Makonnen, who bore the title Ras, which means a duke or prince, like his father, gained more and more support, influence, and power at the imperial court. And then, in 1928, he was crowned the king by the Empress Zuditu, whose health and position of power had by now been significantly undermined. It was the first occasion that an emperor, or ruling empress, had granted the title of Negus in the Ethiopian context. Previously, the title Negus had been used only by the kings of the constituent states of Ethiopia, such as the Negus of Shoa. In doing so, she had effectively handed over state power to him. As empress, she remained the nominal head of state, but only for a short while longer. Following the empress's death, the circumstances of which have never been fully clarified, Negus Tafari Makonnen was crowned Negusa Negast, meaning the King of Kings, Emperor of Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa on the 2nd of November, 1930.
So as you can see, that's a man that rose from power into some very deep circumstances. It was just on a very, escalating ride. It was just a non-stop ride. And in looking at his trajectory and where he was coming from, there was so much about Emperor Selassie to unpack, just even in that little intro, so much to unpack, and what he represented in terms of the Solomonic dynasty. My word, that is another thing that is beyond what I would say cultural reference. And we're going to look at the reason why this is one of my favorite terms above cultural reference. Because when we're talking about Ethiopia, we're talking about the cradle of civilization. We're talking about the birth of human civilization as a whole. There is no human on the planet that doesn't have Ethiopian traits within it. This is one thing that we have to understand. So we're gonna go real deep on this one, really deep. First starting at looking at Emperor Selassie. So let's get that slideshow up and get right into it. Right into the nitty-gritty them, sir. Right, here we go. Let's dive in. Origins of Rastafari livity. And it begins with Selassie. Today we celebrate you. We celebrate the works you've done. We celebrate your contribution to the understanding of consciousness. We celebrate you. We hail you. His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Selassie. Kings of kings, Lord of lords, conquering tribe of Judah. And see him copy there? Marcus Garvey, the one and only, the one who started the Rastafarian movement. And again, we're going to be dissecting all of these things, but let's move swiftly. And we're going to first start with looking at Haile Selassie's mother. We can't forget the mother. We cannot forget the mother, the womb of creation. So Haile Selassie's mother was Yeshimebet Ali, also spelled in a different way, Yeshimebet. Ali Baba Jifar. In fact, if you check out her timeline, her family tree, it goes back to Ali Baba. She was from a noble Oromo Muslim family, part of the influential lineage of the kingdom of Jimma, one of the 5 kingdoms in southwestern Ethiopia. Her father was Dejazmak Ali Abba Jifar, and she was related to Abba Jifar II, a prominent king of Jimma who ruled for decades and converted to Islam, making Jimma a powerful Islamic kingdom in the region. We have to look at this. We have to really look at this, people, because the history of slavery, I don't even want to go too deep into this aspect, but the history of slavery and the Arabic hand in the history of slavery, that is yet to unfold. We won't touch that today. We won't touch that today. But Yeshimebet's ancestry and marriage reflect the complex interweaving of Ethiopia's ethnic and religious groups. Although Haile Selassie was an Ethiopian Orthodox Christian and promoted the Solomonic lineage as central to his legitimacy, his maternal heritage from the Oromo Muslim nobility suggests a more multicultural and multi-religious foundation than is often acknowledged. Very important in this study and this deep dive. So you have to look at the environment that Haile Selassie was in. There's Christianity on this hand, there's Islam on the other hand, and in the mix there's Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity versus all the other versions that were becoming more popular, and that tension through world politics or whatever, for him to come into alignment with what the rest of the world is doing, knowing that the other versions of Christianity was a part of the oppression program. This is where it gets deep. This is where it gets deep. And looking at what is the difference between the Ethiopian Bible and the Protestant or Catholic or whatever Bible. What are the differences? And even pre that, what was the story that led to the context of the Bible coming into play? We can't forget that. Because the Bible that's at hand now, the King James Bible, the one that's published, you find in every hotel that you go in, it has a lot of information cut out. It has a lot of information cut out, and that information would highlight a much more richer concept of what is now known as Christianity. This is the thing. So I could dive in deep. So again, the birthday of Emperor Selassie, Haile Selassie of Ethiopia, was on the 23rd of July, 1892. And it was known as a miraculous birth. And the reason why is his mother. This is a part of his bibliography. Before the birth of Haile Selassie, his mother, H.I.M, endured 8 miscarriages, a heartbreaking series of losses that only deepened the sense of divine providence surrounding her only surviving child. Now, historically, when a mother is put through pressure in this mundane material realm, in the concept of bearing children, and this concept I can bring all the way back to stories you've never heard of. Even in Vedanta, Sanskrit, Mother Ganga, when she, another goddess of Vedanta, when she was here on the planet as a being, she had to suffer the loss of 7 children before the 8th one. And the story behind that, it's so complex. And only she knew what she was doing in the process of delivering the child and seeing the passing of the child to the next realm as quick as she could possibly make it. Because she still had a divine eye to see what's going on. But the 8th child was spared. And this 8th child became a very prominent figure in Vedantic writings, known as a character known as Bhishma. And what Bhishma had to go through to protect the kingdom when it was in its first most divine state, and watching over time as the characters within the dynasty became unrighteous. But he had a duty to protect the dynasty, even though those that were running the dynasty were unrighteous. And it became it's an epic story. If you ever get a chance to dive into the story of the Mahabharata, then you will be really fascinated to find and learn so much what is known as divine truths and the role of time in everything. There's another fascinating story about the birth of Krishna and the children that preceded his birth. There were 7 other children, and they were smashed against the wall in the prison of Kansa's prison. And again, Krishna was spared. Very deep. So when mothers, there's so many other stories, when mothers go through a profound experience to bear a child that is going to do great works on this plane, it's for a reason. And if you go and look into the historic reasons, there's a cry within the mother that is praying for a change. Her whole aptitude towards humanity, mankind, the process of liberty, she sees the splinter in it, and hoping that the child that she bears would play providence, a great role. His mother had this in mind. So, looking at the turmoils that was happening within the politics of Ethiopia at the time, you've got the Islamic rule coming up. You've got the Ethiopian Christian Orthodox rule, and not so much just the Ethiopian Christian Orthodox rule, because it wouldn't mean anything without the Solomonic dynasty added to it. This is the nucleus, because it's bringing something extra. It's bringing something extra to the mix. It's like, whoa, and you can't go any further, and you can't miss this piece you're out. So make we look upon this. Before the birth of Haile Selassie's mother, Yeshimabet Ali endured 8 miscarriages, a heartbreaking series of losses that only deepened the sense of divine providence surrounding her only surviving child. When Tafari Makonnen was finally born in 1892, it was seen not merely as a personal blessing, but a miraculous event rich with spiritual significance. In a land steeped in prophecy and tradition, this unlikely survivor became part of the legend. When we say legend, you know, we are talking about going right back, legendary, not just we come with here. Some would say he was destined to lead. Others believed he was sent to fulfill ancient promises. What is ancient? What is ancient? What do we mean when we say ancient? What do we mean when we say ancient? We have to look upon this thing good, proper. We have to take out the magnifying glass and look good, so we have to look good, so when we say ancient, we don't mean post Greek philosophy. We don't mean post 500 years to make it, okay, this is now the date that Christ died. Pope, what was his name? Little David, who invented the concept of time from Greece, a Greek Pope, 500 years after the account of the death of the Christ-like one. 500 years after. They say, all right, come on, we start the thing now. Today is the 1st of January. Excuse me? 0000 AD. 500 years. Do you know what 500 years could do to knowledge? Anyway, now at this point, I want to really go back. I want to really go back. And again, like I said, I want to put on the magnifying glass and look at this thing, even where we're not even supposed to be looking, and come and land in. So when we land in, we can say, all right, it land good. Yes? So, out of Africa, the original split we're looking at, around 60,000 to 80,000 years ago, small bands of humans migrated from East Africa into Middle East, India, Southeast Asia, and Europe. Then say, yeah, we are going to travel, we are going to make a trad. We are going to check out and see what is going on. Because it look like enough land about. We can go venture about and go see what is going on. Now, the thing that we have to remember, that at the beginning of this trod, 60,000 to 80,000 years ago, there were no names such as the Middle East, India, Southeast Asia, and Europe. These titles came much later, like tens of thousands of years later. So when they first went on their trod, as far as they're concerned, just they're going to see how much land they can occupy under their original banner. They weren't saying, all right, we're going to start something completely different. But as they've moved, they've ventured into different climates, different environments. So these groups were isolated for thousands of years due to ice ages, deserts, and oceans. Isolation caused genetic drift, adaptations, and distinct cultures, even though all still traced back to Africa. So when late African groups or mixed descendants interacted, it looked like intermixing, but they were really long separated cousins. It took time. It took time, yes, but from the one became the many. So, make a step further. Now, Neanderthals and Denisovans, the other mix, here's where it gets spicy. When humans migrated into now Europe and Asia, they encountered other hominins, Neanderthals in Europe and West Asia, and Denisovans in Central and East Asia. And yes, there was interbreeding. Today, most non-African populations carry between 1 to 4% of Neanderthal DNA. Some Asian and Pacific Islanders populations carry Denisovan DNA. But these hominins were not entirely different species, more like distant relatives that split off earlier from the same African ancestors. So them find themselves lost in a distant place and them start make up for them one thing, and in according to their vibrational environment, they start to practice what's in accordance to that space. Some of them turn bad and workless. Some of them get cursed and end up as Canaanites. Some of them, like, it's just, it's long. The whole history of the thing is long. But if we look at it from a very lineage point of view, this is what I want to establish, where we have to sometimes look above cultural reference when we're looking at life, and also looking at the Ethiopian bloodline or the Ethiopian presence or the Ethiopian regard when it comes to the Solomonic dynasty and how it views itself in relation to the governance of the whole of humanity. Hello? This is key. Because from an Ethiopian Solomonic dynastic point of view, everybody on the planet come from Yasso. So they have to work with this governance. But then say, as it was in the beginning, so it shall be in the end. To get spicy now. So, conclusions. No others, just time. The idea of intermixing with others is a misleading simplification. What really happened? All humans come from Africa. Whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're pink or blue. But I know all humans come from Africa. That's the end of it. That's it. Them go out, them spread out, them go do what them do, them a keep up where them a keep up, them tap into where them a tap into. They even tapped into different energies that are vibrating in the universe. There's a whole heap of things to tap into, you know? But some groups left, adapted, evolved differently. Later interactions were with diverged forms of themselves or with closely related hominin cousins. So what this means spiritually, from a Commission or Vedantic perspective, we are all expressions of the one source. We are all expressions of the one source. And this is a prominent mindset of the Solomonic dynasty. From the one came the many. Yeah, we have to rein some in, we have to pull some in order, we have to get something. Then when they gone right out of control and I try make up for them on a thing. But listen, you can't bypass the original blueprint. As it was in the beginning, so it shall be. So, the illusion of separation race, blood, nation, is the work of Maya, illusion. A shadow of time and ego. Yeah? The illusion of separation, race, blood, nation, is the work of Maya, illusion. A shadow of time and ego. All right, I could get back on track now. So, this is where it all gets interesting now, because this is where I want to make the big tie. Selassie, Haile Selassie and India. So, first of all, I want to say that there is no known genetic or marital ties. Haile Selassie came from the Solomonic dynasty, which claimed descent descendancy from King Solomon of Israel and the Queen of Sheba, whose kingdom is believed to have included parts of Ethiopia and Yemen. His ancestors were Ethiopian nobles, e.g. Ras Makonnen, with strong links to Aksumite, Cushitic and Semitic African heritage. There is no historical record of intermarriage with Indian royal families or Indian communities. That's the first thing. What Selassie was really highlighting was the concept of the true Jews. Walana, man. That's a whole nother chapter. That one day can take about 3 months to break down. So we have to fly past this. I'm gonna drop some little hints and tips so you can see exactly where we're going with this and open up the mind a little bit further. But wait a minute, pause right there. There are ancient cultural parallels. Although not by blood, Selassie's lineage connects to ancient civilizations that would have had shared roots and long-standing contact with early India. And what do we mean by early India? We're talking about India before it was called India. And here's how. A. Ethiopia and India in ancient trade. The kingdom of Aksum, modern-day Ethiopia, was a major Red Sea power and traded with South India, Tamalikam, Arabia, Persia, even Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. This was over 2,000 years. B. Cultural parallels between Kemet, Ethiopia and Vedic India before it was known as Vedic India. Walana, man. Both traditions honor sacred kingship, solar worship, Trinity concepts, Amun-Ra, Ptah, and Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, sacred mountains, Zion and Mount Meru. Well, I know. You mean Mount Meru is Sanskrit and Mount Zion is Walana minute. Come here. And the divine right of rule and dharma. What is dharma? What do you mean divine right of rule and dharma? What does this mean? What does this actually mean? Because these things are not taught in the modern day Bible. So, even without blood, there's deep resonance between Selassie's heritage and Vedic principles. So, we can go further than just looking at it from a principle point of view. Some scholars and mystics propose that pre-Vedic India, Kemet and Ethiopia may all come from a common proto-civilization, sometimes called Lemuria, Punt or Ethiopic India. Ed. There may have been black-skinned sages. We know that there were black-skinned sages. You couldn't have anything else but black-skinned sages who spread wisdom across both Africa and India long before recorded history. We are take it deep. So, these theories are not echoed by mainstream academia in support of colonializing a lie and hiding the truth. But they are brought to light in works by thinkers like Sheikh Anta Diop, Ivan van Sermita, and Dr. B.G. Gyan. I've read a lot of stuff on Dr. B.G. Gyan. The word Gyan actually means knowledge. And his work on linking or highlighting the Ethiopian Sanskrit link is phenomenal. So no, Haile Selassie's bloodline was not Indian, but yes, his ancestral philosophy, spiritual symbolism, which is important, and cultural lineage echoed deep connections with India, especially Vedanta and ancient, see the word again? Ancient spiritual science. So when we talk about spiritual science, because enough man afraid of the word science. Only my word science and this. The word science means formula. You formalize. It's like the acquiring of knowledge. Going to gym is a science. Eating bad food is a science. That's the science you're involved with. Eating healthy is a science. Drink it, well, so this is how the science works. You know what drinking water gonna do, so you drink the water. You talk about hydrate your brain, hydrate your body, bring certain liberty to the electrolytes that are in your system. Now you know the science of water. If you go deeper and understand the alchemic science of water, then you go another step further into the science of water. There's unseen sciences of water. Understanding water is the greatest computer on earth because it can hold memory. If you knew about the power of water and alchemy, within the science of alchemy, water is also known as fire water because of its potential to work and do miracles at so many different temperatures and so many different ways that it can work. So again, it's through, if I want to say colonialism, even the word science has become like, oh no, science. We should learn science from them. We should master science through them. Otherwise, we might be seen as, whoa, something funny, I'll go on this up. So unless the West calls you a scientist, you're a madman. It deep, people, it deep. So, let's continue our deep dive. When did Ethiopia-India connections occur? Let's really nail this. The deep civilizational and spiritual connections between Ethiopia and the region we now call India would have occurred long before it was ever known as India. Long before what happened in India. What do I mean? I'm talking about the cross-pollination of all this intermixing and interbreeding and if there's anywhere in the world that's got the most concentrated form of hybrid human, it's India. And this was over a long period of time. So, prehistoric to proto-historic era, before 3000 BC, the kingdom of Punt, often associated with ancient Ethiopia or Somalia, was referenced by ancient Kemet, Egypt, and was active in trade with what's now known as South Asia. Shared megalithic structures, symbolic language, cosmology, and seed exchange like millet and cotton suggests long-distance contact. Indus Valley period between 3300 BC to 1300 BCE, before Christ's story. Trade between the Indus Valley civilization, pre-Vedic India, and East Africa has been confirmed by archaeology, with African goods found in Mohenjo-Daro and vice versa. Aksumite Tamil trade, the first millennium BCE to the 6th century CE. Aksumite Empire in Ethiopia traded with Tamilican South India via the Red Sea and Arabian Seas. Evidence of this includes coins, inscriptions, spices, gemstones, and scripts found on both sides. So when I have time, I'm actually going to break down that whole intersection of the disease, I call it, the disease that corrupted the whole understanding of what was going on. One of the episodes will be dedicated to understanding what colonialism did, the Aryans, the whole 9 yards. I will dedicate a whole section to that, but we have to stay on track in just following a certain trend. So, Selassie's lineage in India. When we talk about Haile Selassie's Solomonic Ethiopian lineage having connections to ancient India, we're referring to a spiritual and cultural continuum that predates the political entity called India. Somebody need to get arrested right now. It gone bad. Interactions with Bharat, Jambudvipa, or Dravida. Lands with ancient spiritual systems, cosmic cosmology, and shared archetypes. And I'm going to do a whole section on Dravida so we can understand who the Dravidians are. There's certain, you know what, I feel sorry for some of my people, you know, because I know it says like I'm saying, there's one aspect of liberty where you're looking out for everyone. But there's another level of aspect where you call it internalized racism. You don't like that species, you don't like that race, you're not quite sure that one there. Yeah, no, but I'm not sure who were they. Little is known about the lost tribe, the Dravidians, the disregarded tribe, the Dravidians. Most people are the Dravidians. Oh, whatever, the Dravidians. Who cares? I'm going to do a special episode just on the Dravidians and their spiritual systems and their cosmic cosmology and shared archetypes with Ethiopia and what is now known as modern day India, and the credits that they get, or the lack of credit, should I say, because it was in this infiltration over time where the Aryans, quote unquote, the white-looking ones them that wanted to control the narrative of the Vedas, the ones that influenced the process of the visions or the images of demigods, gods, or whatever. Shiva. Shiva is described in Sanskrit scriptures, black-skinned, matted locks, the whole 9 yards. If you type in Shiva now on YouTube, you get a picture of this blue guy with gold. Where am I golden hair? European hair now. Him have European hair. And the whole of the Hindu, them are, that shit. Listen, don't get me started. Just don't get me started. But yes, the connections between Ethiopia and the Indian subcontinent occurred long before it was ever called India. These ties belong to the era of Bharatvas. And again, when you look at the story of Mahabharat and look at ancient African kings in India, a lot of things are going to unfold. I'm going to cover those as well. Punt, Kush, and Kemet, a time when sacred civilizations communicated through trade, spiritual wisdom, and symbols that still resonate today. So it deep, people, it deep. It's very deep. So here's what's known about Selassie and his spiritual consultants. Ethiopian Orthodox Church leadership. Selassie had a close and respectful relationship with the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, which was a cornerstone of Ethiopian identity and governance. Now, Ethiopia as a whole has got, like I'm saying, it's the cradle of mankind. It's the cradle of mankind. So Ethiopia as a concept is bigger than the Christian part, the Orthodox Church. And there's a reason for that. I'm going to expose that. Traditional elders and spiritual guides, beyond formal clergy, Ethiopian culture traditionally reveres elders, monks, and hermits considered to have deep spiritual insights. Selassie was known to consult with such figures for guidance, blessing, and wisdom, especially during times of national crisis or important decisions. Mysticism within Ethiopian Christianity. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church contains rich mystical traditions involving visions, prayer, fasting, and asceticism. Selassie's engagement with church leaders would naturally involve these mystical elements, including interpreting divine signs or seeking spiritual legitimacy for his rule. again, a lot of these things are so above and beyond the normal everyday Christian practice. Symbolic use of spiritual authority. Selassie often used religious symbolism and the spiritual aura of the church to reinforce his divine right to rule. This required ongoing dialogue and alignment with religious figures who were in many respects spiritual or mystical authorities. Now, the one thing that I'm going to highlight here at this time, outside of just the Ethiopian Orthodox way, let me just highlight what I'm saying there. Just highlight the split. You've got the Ethiopian Orthodox way, and you have the Ethiopian Orthodox Christian way. Work with me. Christianity came after. Work with me. And a lot of the mysticism of the Ethiopian Orthodox way was hidden under the guise of Christianity. Hidden. Removed, taken out, books gone, blah, 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 the rest of it. So, in this way, many figures who knew of this, who didn't know of this, that was standing for something else, that was representing something else, he had to hold counsel with all types of figures from all over the world. Because when he said kings, king of kings and lord of lords, that's a big title. King of kings. That means all the kings and lord of lords and mystic of mystics and blah, 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 and this of this and that of that. And with that title, you can't just sit down in your own hype. You have to be able to plug in. You have to be able to hold counsel with all the other kings, all the other lords, all the other mystics. All right. Your thing, little bit sour, you go over there, so. All right, you are going. You can come on this side. You can be my ally. You can come into the corner as one of my allies when we're fighting colonialism and all of these things. Because you have the right mindset and you follow the traditional Ethiopian Orthodox way, regardless of what religion you're calling it. Ooh, what did you just say? Because in Selassie's position, he must concede behind. No mind where you are call it. I know what I want. Because he's looking through the eyes of the dynasty. Not just the church, the dynasty. The legacy of the dynasty that goes way back. The Ethiopian principle, the Ethiopian essence. The Ethiopian qualities that resonated so much that said, you know what, we better put a dynasty together before we lose everything. So, in the time of Kemet, ancient Egypt, before Christianity and the Solomonic dynasty, the core... Don't read that part too fast, because you can lose somebody. In the time of Kemet, ancient Egypt, before Christianity and before the Solomonic dynasty, the core philosophy was centered on Mahat, cosmic order and truth, divine kingship, polytheistic theology, and a complex understanding of the soul and afterlife. The Solomonic dynasty as such did not exist before Christianity in Ethiopia. It was established after Christianity became the dominant religion in the region. If we didn't highlight that and all of this to highlight that major point, we would have missed a deep, insightful nuance to the whole creation of the dynasty. It was established after Christianity became the dominant religion in the region. But it doesn't mean or suggest that it was just purely Christian dominant principles. Again, we can see that there's a fight going on. There's a fight right there. So listen, this Christianity thing, we better set something up. We better set something up and set this Christianity story straight, because whether I keep up, So Ethiopia had all the knowledge, even to encompass the idea of building a dynasty in the middle of the dominance of Christianity rising in the region, and wanting to put the story straight. Now you're going to have a whole heap of Christians saying, well, it don't matter, you know, Ethiopian Bible and this, that, and the other. This, you know, Jesus, Revelation, the major books are still there. You don't need to read all of that. What's it going to give you? What do you get out of it? So it's at this very reason, at this very core thing now, where we can see part and parcel of what His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie's fight was all about. Because the biggest right-wing movement, states, countries that was fighting Ethiopia was all under the Catholic regime. Every single state, country, element that was against Selassie was under the Catholic regime. This is a serious thing to put out there in the first place. And you have to understand principally what is going on. So, you know, when you look at this concept of conscious wars, biblical wars, all of this thing, you know, you got the complete Ethiopian Bible with 88 plus books and 22 extended texts. Extended, yeah, and don't forget this and read this and yeah, and this and this. A world of one there. And the argument, which Bible is approved by God? Who decided? You got the Protestant Bible book, which is 66 books. The Catholic reigning at 73. Then you got the Orthodox swimming in the middle somewhere, 76 plus. But again, when we're looking at the full 88 plus Ethiopia, what is missing from 66 to 88? What is missing from 73 to 88? A whole heap of information. When you see, the thing is, it's not even to say that these books can be computed in a way that you'd say, you know, a chapter is 100 pages. One of these books, at the Book of Enoch, you know how big that is? That like take out the whole of the Old Testament, the size of it. And when you go through the Book of Enoch, the insights and the things where you read, your mind's spin out, and it's a good thing for your mind to spin out of these confinements of limited ideologies of what the relationship between you and God is. So this thing about the books leads to something really, really deep. And it's like this. When you read a book, you summarize what was the moral of the story. The book creates an imprint on your subconscious resonance of accepting the information from the book and aligning yourself with the book. And it comes with a moral of the story. You know when I say, what's the moral of the story? Shortcut the story. Give highlight for me. Get to the beauty of it. Get to the chunk. What is it that you're telling me? What am I supposed to learn? And it was known that Selassie read these other Bibles and he did not approve of them at all. He did not approve of these other Bibles. None at all. Because the moral of the story was out of alignment with Ethiopian Orthodox principles. And if he's going to bring it back to Ethiopian Orthodox principles that were part and parcel of the support that created the Solomonic dynasty in understanding mystics on a universal level, and seeing these jinnus coming to try and trick up the thing to create another level of colonization, oppression, suppression, misunderstanding. And these things, he already saw how they exercised this in Africa and had Africa weak on their knees. Weak. So we have to go pre-Bible. We have to go pre-biblic to understand what was the spiritual essence that was captured in the Ethiopian Bible, or captured in the essence of Ethiopian principles, versus the moral of the story of what modern day Christianity indoctrinates you into. And it's this: pre-Christian virtues was dominance, courage, wealth, justice, assertiveness, glory, pride, strength, identity, and virility. Now these are the things, the qualities that Selassie wanted to see for every man. Woman and child. But the presupposition of Christian virtues, the moral of the story, the undercurrent to what was being propagated through the Christian movement under Protestant, Catholic, and even Orthodox, in one sense, was submission, fear, poverty, mercy, meekness, anonymity. You know what that means? Anonymous. You know what that means? You're not seen. You know what that means? You're not there. You know what that means? You don't count. You know what that means? Who are you? Well, you know what that means? You're not even supposed to recognize yourself as anything worthy. Worthiness goes out of the window. Anonymity, shame, forgiveness, turn the other cheek, martyr. You're sacrificing your life, sacrificing your identity, sacrificing your self-worth, and castration. And the pre-Christian virtues are spiritual, godly virtues. You can't be anything in the sight of your own self, much less in the sight of God, if you don't claim these concepts of being. And at the heart of it, this is what not only the Ethiopian Orthodox principles were about. Not only was Selassie about this, in the wholeness of his being, in the wholeness of his actions, in the wholeness of everything he done and everything that he stood for. This is the core origin of the mindset behind Rastafari liberty. Dominance, courage, wealth, justice, assertiveness, glory, pride, strength, identity, and virility. Now when we say glory now, it doesn't mean that we are taking the glory. No, we're using the glory in its right contents. All praises to the Most High. You have some race and you have some people who are just go around with their greedy mindset, going through wealth and so forth with no form of nothing but self-glorification. And not that type of glory I deal with. That is not the type of glory we're talking about. So, these are the things, these are the principles, these are the core values, virtues that Selassie wanted to instill. What he practiced, what the Rastafari movement recognized in what Marcus Garvey echoed to them, what Marcus Garvey echoed to them in his speeches and his way of liberty. There's so much to uncover over the next couple of days in this deepness of understanding the role of Emperor Selassie, the depth of history, and we're looking at the Solomonic lineage. His wife, we've not even reached to that yet, man. You know how much things we have to go through? You know how much things we have to go through? Too much things to talk about. Too much things to talk about. So, moving on swiftly. Spiritual symbology. This hand gesture also related to the Star of David. This posture, Selassie was always seen holding his hand like this. This was one of his favorite postures. And again, this is echoed right through Rastafari liberty, the Rastafarian way of life. Everybody I got so. What is the roots? Where does this come from? Where is the first writings or education, or where does this come from? So this hand gesture, hand gestures were first documented in Sanskrit and is a family of many hand gestures. Hand gestures are so powerful that even today, modern day societies have made up their own hand gestures where, you know, you stick your two fingers up and you know that you're creating an offense to someone. You're creating an energy that's leaving you, that somebody picks up that energy without words, and you put them into a state. You can put yourself into a state. So the science of hand gestures, even this one, pranasana. This is known as pranasana. The hand at the heart, the two hands together. Pranasana, prayer position. Pranasana, prayer position. Look how close that is. Sanskrit, English. But the hand gesture that we're particularly talking about, again, this one, this particular one, there's different variations of it where you can curl your fingers in like this, but the very particular one, like this that we're talking about, this mudra is known as the Uttara Bodhi mudra. Uttara Bodhi mudra. And this mudra is, if I was to break down the word, Uttara and Bodhi. Bodhi is directly connected to your intelligence. There's nothing in the brain. In other words, all the sensory areas of the brain have been mapped out neurologically, and in neuroscience, you know, they can press a button to make you laugh, make you cry, make you jump, make you raise your hand, but there's nowhere in the brain that they can press or trigger to make you more intelligent. There's nowhere in the brain that controls abstract thinking. There's nowhere in the brain that allocates how you make decisions or choose to fight against habits, influxes of the brain that's telling you to do things. There's nothing there. The signals are there, like they're hungry, hungry, hungry. But when you say, nah, not yet, I'm not going to eat yet, there's no light up that says, nah, not yet, I'm going to eat yet. You just nullified or gone against that pattern of habitualizing towards the flow of things. Now, this Uttara Bodhi mudra allows your consciousness to rise above the fluctuations of the brain and tap into the reservoir of intelligence where it's held in the non-biological sphere. When it says element all, this is regarding it's going all the way into the etheric realm. This mudra brings peace to the mind. This mudra, if you hold this mudra long enough, you'll find over time, you will start to breathe even deeper. You will start to take on a resonance of deep breathing. This mudra also helps to clear the intestine. It nullifies fears and it empowers decision making. It overcomes fear and it overcomes anxiety, and you can just hold a meds with this mudra and come to a powerful process of decision making that you can see yourself following through. Again, this is all documented in Sanskrit. So, Uttara Bodhi Mudra can be utilized when we feel mentally or physically drained after a long day at the office or studying for examinations, whatever has depleted your energy stores. This mudra allows you to recharge your batteries. Practicing Uttara Bodhi is a great way to calm an excited mind or soothe the nerves before starting or seemingly overwhelming task, such as public speaking. So you can see why Selassie was using that regularly. It is believed that Uttara Bodhi Mudra helps to improve self-confidence and allows us to realize our true inner self. It removes fear and teaches one not to worry about anything but God. Uttara Bodhi Mudra is also said to help ignite inspiration, improve our problem solving and decision-making abilities, and heighten the practitioner's focus and concentration. Having a strengthening effect on the inhalation, it gives the body a sense of being refreshed, invigorating, and the heart and lungs. To practice this mudra, the hands interlock in front of the navel, leaving the index finger and the thumbs extended. The tip of the index fingers touch, pointing upwards, And the tips of the thumb touch as well, pointing downwards. So you could literally do it like this. This mudra should be practiced for 15 to 20 minutes, 1 to 3 times a day to get the best results, but can be performed any time and any place as needed. So, very powerful. Right there we can see an overlap of spiritual sciences without regard for cultural reference. Yeah man, this work, man, I deal with it. This, yeah man. You see it? And there's more and truckloads more. There's more to come, more to get into. So I don't want to go on too long on this one. I'm going to leave with a couple of insights that will help us open our minds to a wider template when we go forward in unraveling the origins of Rastafari liberty and Haile Selassie. And this is one of Haile Selassie's quotes. In the mystic traditions of the different religions, we have a remarkable unity of spirit. Whatever religion they may profess, they are spiritual kinsmen. While the different religions in their historic forms bind us to limited groups and militate against the development of loyalty to the world community. Walan. The mystics have already stood for the fellowship of humanity in harmony with the spirit of the mystics of ages gone by. I love this quote. I just so love it. It's just so apt. It's so, in everything that I'm saying, it's just so apt. In the mystic traditions of the different religions, we have a remarkable unity of spirit. Whatever religion they may profess, whatever religion you want to call it, they are spiritual kinsmen. While the different religions in their historic forms bind us to limited groups and militate against the development of the loyalty of the world community, the mystics have already stood for the fellowship of humanity in harmony with the spirit of the mystics of ages gone by. Here's another one. A man who says, I have learned enough and will learn no further, should be considered as knowing nothing at all. So if you think you already know it, read a little more, discover a little more, check out a little more, dig a little further, discover more. And finally, the last quote that I'm going to leave you with. No one should question the faith of others, for no human being can judge the ways of God. It's deep. It's deep. It's full on. And like I said, I'm going to be running a series on these over the next couple of days to really get into this and unfold the richness of the Ethiopian, the Vedantic, the Rastafarian, the synergy, the symbology, the movement of the rise in Jamaica, everything. I'm going to be taking in a deep ride on understanding not only the origins of Rastafari, but its meaning. And I'm going to leave with this. I was in the UK recently, and I flew back to Portugal just a day ago, actually. My memory's just catching back up. Just yesterday, Milan. So Monday night, I didn't sleep at all. I was up with my sister, and she's an empress, Rastafarian, doing the Rastafari trod, locks all the way down to the ground. Beautiful locks. And we was in conversation, and she shared something with me which was so profound, and it was about understanding Rastafari at the core. Rastafari, liberty at the core, because there's something to understand principally about Rastafarian principles and spirituality as a whole. Spirituality is not theology or ideology. It is simple, a way of life, pure and original as was given by the Most High. Which leads to a deeper understanding of what is the meaning of Rastafarian, of the Rastafarian way. And it's simply this. As my sister explained to me, she was in Jamaica and she spoke with the priest, really inquiring about the meaning of the Rastafarian way. And it was beautifully expressed like this. The Rastafarian way is a free trad. And you have to understand what this concept means, where you can trad freely and express your greatness with the right qualities and the right virtues, that you can walk and hold your head up high and achieve what you desire, and that create the balance in your life that both your mortal and immortal sides get nourished, and none of them are walking dilapidated, undernourished, undervalued. You're walking in your fullness, in your free trad. And we're going to get deeper into that even further down the line. So that was the last slide. And we went deep. We went really deep in looking into this. I enjoyed that. There's so much more to come. Let's see if we can get this back. So, we'll leave it right there for tonight. I want to thank you all for joining me on this special occasion of Selassie's birthday. And thank you for coming through this First episode of the origins of Rastafarian liberty. And we're going to be going deep over the next couple of days. Keep a check out for the notifications. In fact, make sure that you like, subscribe, share the link, spread the word. The series is coming back on the origins of Rastafarianism. It's the perfect time to do it. Perfect way to celebrate not only Selassie's life, what he stood for, where he came from, what the whole Solomonic dynasty was about, what the whole Ethiopian dynasty was all about. And we're going to enjoy the ride. So, beautiful souls, stay blessed, stay beautiful, and stay on the best side of being you.
For them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Hey. Congo grow me lax is not a sin. Original from in the beginning. Glory to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow me lax is not a sin. Original from in the beginning. Don't be ashamed of your culture. And we don't fear your cup and your soul far. Never give up. Matter what the fight is, every day we chant ceaseless ISIS. See them a try hard, we control it, but coronavirus cannot hold it. Rastaman natural from iration, burn out COVID vaccination. Yeah. Praises to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow me lax is not a sin. Original from in the beginning. Glory to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow me lax is not a sin. Corruption just can't win. By the powers of the Most High, we shall overcome all evil. They're telling you a lot of lies, trying to deceive the people, but we shall fight right now, and we'll be victorious. We shall fight, and we'll be so glorious. She said them a war, she said them a hate, she said them a go see them a discriminate. I fight for the land what Almighty create. Them alone want all of the game. Praises to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow me lax is not a sin. Original from in the beginning. Glory to Selassie, I the king. Cause no for them a chat, but them no mean not a thing. Congo grow me lax is not a sin. Corruption just can't win.